So I just saw a little bit of the new Jellystone. I didn't see all 10 episodes. I just saw like basically one of the 11-minute shorts that they have that's part of the whole half-hour deal, because it's kind of like very similar to what you had with SpongeBob and some classic cartoons and Chowder and all that, where you have, and even Gumball, where basically you have the episode split into two 11-minute shorts. So basically, long story short, if you will, I ended up watching one of them, and it was called Must Be Jelly. And in this short, in this mini episode, if you will, it focuses on Cindy, and Cindy is, of course, showcased as a doctor, brilliant scientist, inventor, works at JellyStone Hospital. But what she wants to do here, the main focus, the main plot of this mini episode, this mini 11-minute episode, is she wants to finish the fifth chapter, or she wants to try to catch up and finish up to the fifth chapter of a book, which I'm assuming, because I didn't see all of it, just watched some of it to kind of get an idea of what the show was about and how the characters were represented. Basically, the book, I'm assuming, is kind of like a parody of 50 Shades of Grey or something in that tone. And she's trying to read up to and finish chapter 5 of it, because she's part of this, it seems like she's part of this little book club at the apartment where she lives. And I don't know if her fellow book club members live in the same apartment, or they just come over for this meeting of this club or something like that. I don't really know. But anyway, the main focus of the story, she's trying to finish up to that chapter. She's trying to read and finish up to that chapter, and she's always getting disrupted. Her whole schedule is just packed. It's just full, that when she finally does get a break to try to finish that book in time for the club meeting, she can't do it. She's constantly getting interrupted, with either patients coming in and talking to her about, the ailments, or asking her for advice. So, like I said, she's kind of a doctor, inventor, and somewhat of a therapist, I guess. So, you have all these characters coming into our office talking about, the ailments, and they need help, they need some kind of medication, or they need surgery, or they just want to get something off their chest. And it's during this kind of a situation, not at the hospital, but at the apartments where she lives, I'm assuming, that when she's meeting with her colleagues, her fellow book members, Jabberjaw, who is now female, so we can also call her Jenny Jaw if you want to do that. I guess it's just getting some frozen snacks, or some kind of snacks to bide the time while they talk about the book and how far they've gotten about it, and mostly the latest chapter. And Cindy basically realizes, oh, I haven't gotten to that chapter yet, and decides to find a way to, make sure she gets to that chapter without interruption. So, long story short, she basically invents a device that allows her to temporarily, that's the original plan, to give her that opportunity by jellifying all of JellyStone, or at least those she feels is interrupting her book reading time, to catch up to chapter 5. So, that's mainly the plot of it. If you will. She's trying so desperately to, get time to read this book, that she comes up with this device that, uses the power of Jello, or Jello mold, if you will, to turn everybody into Jello molds of themselves. Again, like I said, originally her plan is temporarily, so she can read the book and then she'd restore them. But anyway, I saw that. Again, I haven't seen everything yet, and it got a chuckle out of me. It got a laugh out of me and everything. And and it wasn't just like a ha ha, that's funny, I want to see more of that kind of laugh. It was more of a chuckle laugh of amusement, like, oh my gosh, what have they done here? I mean, I'll say this: it does keep your attention, because if you grew up on these characters, it allows you to, kind of, see, out of intrigue of what they had done, what they have changed. And, I'll tell you, this is if you want a decent starting point, because you can watch these in any order you want, something like Must Be Jelly is a good starting point, because, you can definitely get the idea of the fact that Cindy Bear, basically, this character, you know, her personality really upgraded. Not saying that she didn't have much of a personality beforehand, she did, but it was always like a sweet, kind, gentle-like personality. But I can tell you from experience, from watching the show in the 80s, the new Yogi Bear show, that is, in the 80s, watching the movie back in when it was aired on television, the 1964 movie, and then watching even Yogi, as well as Yogi's Treasure Hunt and stuff, you could tell that Cindy does have personality. She does have, personality that's ready to break out and everything, and you kind of see that, like I said, shown off a little bit, not as much here as it is here, I should say, in JellyStone, but you see it shown off at times throughout her other previous appearances, like Yogi, the new Yogi Bear show, Laugh Olympics, for example, and even, like I said, Hey There, it's Yogi Bear, and even her last movie appearance, animated movie appearance, Yogi and the Invasion of the Space Bears, which was one of the final Hanna-Barbera Superstar 10's direct-to-TV, direct-to-video movies, or animated movies. So she does have personality, and it does show in those previous incarnations that I just mentioned, but not as much as it's shown here in JellyStone. And this is like a Cindy that, honestly, I guess it's comparable to what Warner Brothers did to Lola in the Looney Tunes show. That's how you can compare it. That basically, it's a comparison somewhat to what they did to Lola here in the Looney Tunes show, and kind of has continued on, hybrided it in the Looney Tunes cartoons, which used to be known as Rabbit. You can compare what they did with Cindy and JellyStone to that. And honestly, I know it's going to sound hypocritical, but the personality change I think that they gave to Cindy is one of the best ones they've done. And I know this is coming from somebody that has talked about, along with many others, how they destroyed Teela's character in Revelation. But here's the difference. Real quickly, between the two. Teela, character destruction or change, or whatever you want to call it, assassination, if you will, was not needed, because she was supposed to be the Teela of the original series. Not somebody completely different that goes off, turns her back on everything, gives herself a kind of like new hairdo, builds herself up, and turns into, as some people call her, LGBTQ Teela, a couple of years later, or a couple of months later, or something like that, depending on the timeline. So, Cindy is not in that kind of a category of, her character was changed into, from what it was to something that it's not, because the big difference between the two as well is with Revelation, that was sold, as a direct sequel, spiritual sequel to the Filmation series. Well, JellyStone straight up was sold as an original series, bringing the characters into a new generation. And that's the one thing I think some people just don't understand, is when a show, the big difference, I should say, that is when a show says it's one thing and follows up on it, people are more receptive, especially if it does have characters showcased in a way they may or may not agree with. But when you compare it, I should say, to a show that's sold to you as something that's a direct sequel, spiritual sequel, and it's anything but, of course you're going to have people that get angry. You're going to have people that get upset. And that's basically the difference between the two. And that's kind of the difference with Cindy and Teela's characters. Teela, people expected her to be just like she was, somewhat tweaked a little bit, but somewhat identical to her Filmation counterpart. Cindy, being part of this, fans expected maybe her to get a personality change, and we see it in the trailer. Again, the show is sold as something new that's bringing the characters into a new timeline, a new generation, a new setting. It's not sold to us as a direct sequel to Yogi, or a direct sequel to the new Yogi Bear show, or anything like that. It's sold to us as something new and original and fresh, with these characters who, again, you look in the trailer, are pretty much already being told to you, this is what they're going to be like. What we got here, what we got in Revelation, I say, with Tila, wasn't that way. But anyway, though, like I said, Cindy's character, to get back on that, is, her character change is comparable, I should say, to that of Lola's in the Looney Tunes show, and the hybrid, and the decision to mix that character change of Lola's in to, I guess, somewhat of what you would get with Space Jam in the Looney Tunes cartoon series. Like I said, it used to be known as Rabbit. So overall, like I said, just based off this one thing, again, it's one of those shows that, it will get a chuckle out of you. It will get a chuckle out of you. There's no doubt about it. And it is a show that I kind of recommend, basically. Again, I'm just going based off one 11-minute short of this 10-episode series. One 11-minute short, which is, just one half of one episode, of one whole episode, that is. So I do recommend, and just giving it a chance, see what you think about it. If you like it, you'll like it. If you like it, then more power to you. If you don't, then that's your decision. And if you're in between with it, like, yeah, it's good, but there's some problems that I would fix or alter or whatever, then hey, that's your decision. But it's all right, just if you just watch it on occasions, once in a while. I will say this, bit of spoilers. Like I said, Cindy used the gun to turn everybody into jello molds of themselves, and one of the parts where she was trying to restore them, she basically melted the jelly mold of Wally Gator. My honest opinion, and if they do a second season, which I think they might, my honest opinion is, they should have had Cindy turn herself into a jelly mold by accident, or have Yogi turn into a jelly mold of herself by accident, and have her melt right there afterwards, and then you just have her kind of speak up with like her face sticking up, going like, well, at least I have some peace and quiet. And then you can end it like that, or maybe end it to where she's going down a drain, and as she says that. So I don't know, but they didn't do that. First of all, they didn't do that, but it's something I think they could have done. Maybe they'll save that for the second season. But anyway, though, it is, like I said, a show that, don't base it off the one episode I've seen, or the one short, mini episode I've seen, It Must Be Jelly. Don't base it off that. Base it off, how you want to view it. And again, you can view it in any which way you want. But, it is something that you can, just give it a chance and see how you like it. And if you do, hey, more power to you. If you don't, again, like I said, that's up to you. That's your decision. And the same with, if you're kind of in the middle of, yeah, it's good, but there are some things that, don't work and could be tweaked or fixed. Again, more power to you. That's your decision. But anyway, though, guys, I just thought I'd come out here, give you my first impressions video on it. And how I thought it kind of worked so far. I'll still have to watch more of the episodes to kind of get a better idea and everything. But it's kind of like I said, it's one of those shows that you can watch out of context and it wouldn't hurt it. It really wouldn't hurt it. And to me, Cindy's personality change, I think people will compare that to what Warner Brothers did with Lola in the Looney Tunes show, and how they kept that personality change somewhat hybrided a little bit with what you would see in Space Jam at times. So that's all I'm going to say, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I know I sound like I rambled a bit. I do apologize. It is late. As I'm doing this. But again, let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. And I am out.